This video is brought to you by Rocket Money. I would like to take this moment to formally apologize to the Scooby-Doo WWE crossover movie. I'm sorry, movies with an S, plural. Compared to the Velma series, these films are true cinema.
Can we help you kids out?
John Cena!
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
So yeah, this new Velma series on HBO Max, it sucks. I had my doubts after watching the trailer, but I did not expect it to be this bad. I watched the first 2 episodes and just walked away with a feeling of disdain, which is appropriate since the show itself hates its viewers just as much.
You know what 420 is, right?
Yeah, it's code for adults who still watch cartoons.
I don't know who this is for. Who wants this? Who asked for this? I have no clue. Nobody likes it. This show is like a straw man of what right-wing media outlets think, what they perceive as woke media. God, I hate that term so much. I had to dig deep just to find some form of positive merit in this show. Something I could add to this discussion that isn't just dunking on its problems, though said dunking is very well deserved. Now, I was actually able to find some points of praise, but we'll get to those here in a bit. We gotta sift through the mud first.
Because the brilliant Velma Dinkley knows everything about everyone and isn't afraid to say it.
Exactly. I spit truth without a filter, like every comedian before #MeToo.
Look, are you in or are you out?
Now, for those who don't know, Velma is a new entry in the Scooby-Doo franchise, but it brings something fresh to the table by taking an adult approach to its premise. Something that is, on paper, kind of a cool concept. I grew up with Adult Swim and watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, Venture Brothers, all shows that were enjoyable satires or parodies of their respective properties. I remember the episode where Harvey Birdman defended Scooby and Shaggy in court because he thought that they were in trouble for drug use, but denied it. That was just their personalities. I love how abrupt the ending is. It never says if it was drugs or not. Wonderful, hilarious, I love it. And you can tell that these series all have respect and appreciation for the original shows they're based on.
Guys, meet your new attorney, Mr. Birdman.
Which one of you is Shaggy?
Like I am.
Okay, that's your street name. What's the name your moms gave you?
For Velma? Oh, no, not at all. It's like it spits in the face of its source material and does the complete opposite in the most cynical way possible. Bad writing, folks, is the culprit here, and it takes no prisoners. Bring back the Velma I used to know, the one who dated Johnny Bravo.
It started innocently enough. She'd lost her glasses. I found them. Here you go, little nearsighted mama. She smiled at me through those Coke bottle frames and said, "JINKIES."
God, I miss those days. Again, an adult animated entry for the Scooby-Doo franchise caught my attention at first, and then realizing it was focused on Velma kicked up my curiosity even more so. A Velma show? That's different. And over the years, Velma has become more beloved as a character. I guess you can chalk that one up to how nerds are more socially accepted now and, hey, even kind of hot. Daphne? Oh no, get her away from me. Don't like her. Move over. Velma is where it's at. Unless it's this Velma, the one who actively hates everyone and everything with the most annoying dialogue possible.
But also that he was just another entitled rich guy who might kill someone because he has a tiny dong.
The Velma series is about, unsurprisingly, Velma. How she's a disenfranchised nerd at her high school. How her mother is missing. How the usual Scooby-Doo gang is initially fractured. And also, whoa, hold on, missing Scooby. Hey, where is he? Oh, Warner's like, yo, you can do your adult show? No Scooby, though. He's for kids. He'll be tainted by the adult humor. Scooby, consider yourself lucky. You dodged a rollet. Is that how you say bullet? A rollet? Scooby itself is such a bizarre, timeless franchise. It entered the ranks of Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny immortality, and has the latitude of exploring weird stories or movies because, hey, why the hell not? Scooby with a WWE crossover? Sure, cool. Scooby with Bobby Flay? Okay, why not? Scooby with Courage, the Cowardly Dog? Hey, you know what? Actually, that's kind of smart, and I love it. The template of Scooby-Doo lends itself over quite well with crossovers, which, admittedly is one of the, cornerstones of Scooby and goes back to, the very beginning. And it also lends itself well over to new generations of the show in general. Mystery Incorporated is the GOAT by a long shot.
But you've got a job as a teacher. Why do you need more money?
Oh, yeah, my bad.
But in the majority of the creative entries and reinterpretations of Scooby, I never felt like it ever lost sight of what made these characters great. Until Velma. For example, in this show, Daphne is a mean, popular girl who is at odds with Velma. Sure, that could work. I guess we can see where it goes. What about Fred? Oh, Fred is like some insecure idiot who is helpless and concerned about the size of his Oscar Mayer wiener. Okay, creative question mark? Not really. And then you got Shaggy, aka Norval, who is a nerd who loves Velma, but is dismissed as a friend, and he never says like Scoob, looks like. We don't get that. There's no like. What happened to you, Shaggy? And then there's Velma, the worst offender of all. She's jaded, short-tempered, and lashes out with insulting retorts and quips. Personality traits that are like the antithesis of the original character. I suppose she likes to solve mysteries, but that's it.
My mother wrote mysteries. And from that day on, she'd give me little mysteries to solve while she worked and smoked. Like the case of the missing idea juice. But eventually, I grew bold and sought mysteries of my own.
I don't care about the race swapping. I really don't. It's not an issue to me. If that's your problem, then you're not watching the show properly. And also you're stupid too. The franchise has been around long enough to take creative leaps and shake things up. I'm much more concerned about the writing for the characters, which is, for this show, pretty terrible. Mindy Kaling, the main name attached to the show as the producer and also the voice actor of the titular Velma, is on record saying, quote, "The essence of Velma is not necessarily tied to her whiteness, and I identify so much as her character, and I think so many people do. So it's yeah, let's make her Indian in this series." End quote. You know what? That's fine. But for Velma, the character, with her writing in this show, she feels more like Mindy's self-insert OC of Velma, my own original character, Nelma. Because I tell you this, there's nothing about Velma in this show that reminds me of the original Velma, except for the fact they have the same names and wear the same clothes. That's it. You relate to Velma, Mindy? Really? How so? Because I definitely don't see it reflected in the show whatsoever.
This is my story, told my way.
I'm not Sonic! I'm my original character, Blonic!
Now, for what it's worth, Mindy has been the lightning rod of hate for this series, which is understandable considering that her name is plastered all over it. But the show creator and one of the main writers is Charlie Grandy. Charlie here has been working with Mindy for many years now, so it's not surprising to see the two team up for Velma. Both deserve criticism, but Charlie much more so than Mindy, since, he made the show. The animation studio that made this is literally called Charlie Grandy Productions. Now, I mentioned already that these characters seem like the antithesis of the originals. For example, the OG Fred is a lovable himbo, while this Fred is a dense, short-tempered idiot who can't even cut his own food. An interesting spin, but that does not make it inherently good. I actually suspect that the creators of this show were let's do the characters Always Sunny characters with their irreverent personalities. That would be funny. Which my theory is bolstered by the presence of Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny, who plays Dennis on the show. You got him as the voice of Fred. The Scooby Gang, but combative jerks? That's kind of rubbing against the grain here, and it does not work at all. That kind of approach works for Sunny because that was the original concept, and that their characters are so outlandishly awful that I enjoy seeing them suffer. But the characters in Velma are just slightly awful, not abhorrent. But they also don't get the same level of comeuppance as the characters of Sunny. So instead, we're supposed to, I guess, root for them? I don't think so. Don't like them. Also, it does not help that the dialogue in this show doubles down on its contempt with excruciating humor via name-calling pot shots.
Narc! White girl with too much money? White girl with too much money.
You don't know me.
Oh, and don't even get me started on the self-aware comedic tone. Oh, this moment happening right now is like a show that we are acknowledging right now, and it's tropes, but we are not a show, and we wouldn't do the trope, but we're gonna do the trope after all. Haha!
The only hook a good show ever needs is good storytelling.
Then why was your favorite part of the Riverdale pilot when Betty and Veronica kissed?
Well, because I was instantly called out as tired in the scene.
No, it's because it was hot.
You can have it both ways.
No, you can't.
You know, just because you point out that your script is cliched and stupid, it doesn't change the fact that your script is cliched and stupid.
Self-aware meta comedy can work, but it requires nuance. To just come out the gate with said tone, then to fall back on it time and time again is incredibly annoying. Yes, we get it. The characters know that they're in a show. Immersion broken and tension forsaken. Well done. Who cares? This kind of writing only works when the characters are, how do you put it? Good. For example, take Granddad from the Boondocks. In one episode, he's with a guy who's like, oh, I'm actually the son of you. But Granddad does not know that yet. They're at a strip club, and like both their stories sync up so perfectly, but Granddad is so oblivious, so overwhelmingly ignorant that he says things like, there's no chance that could be related to me. Haha. I'm like, that's funny. It's like that in application is funny to me because he's just that dense.
Always wondered what happened to her. I guess I'll never know. Gone for good. I will never ever in a million years know what happened to her. Oh well.
You know, my mom's name was Marietta.
Really? What a random, completely unrelated coincidence that had nothing to do with me.
Even the animation is subpar. It's very stiff and rigid for the most part, with very little anticipation and exaggeration, which in turn makes the movement of these characters look weightless and lack impact. Now, there are some moments of quality animation, specifically the scenes where Velma hallucinates, but those scenes are few and far between. Now, I did mention that there were some positives in this show, and that includes the designs of the characters. I know folks don't like the race swapping, and they're like, that's not my Shaggy, but like, just sit down, relax, hear me out, look at the designs. They're pretty damn good. A wonderful use of different shapes in the faces of the gang that give them a distinct and polished look. Their mouths, their eyes, their noses. There's some wonderful variety here with solid rim lighting. Now, unfortunately, said designs are attached to incredibly unlikable characters. So, for the artists who might be watching this video, shout out to you. You tried your best. I think these designs are pretty fun. If this was like some multiverse of Scooby, where it was separate from the actual timeline, in concept and writing, it could have worked. And you tried. These designs, they tried. But you were stuck with some pretty bad writing, so what can you do? Speaking of terrible writing, the audacity of this show to borrow from Mean Girls, right? Oh, Velma and Daphne were childhood friends who now hate each other in high school. Okay, sure. Why not? And by the way, I admittedly had a Velma is gay on my bingo card because, I don't know, I felt like that's becoming a bit more of a modern trope where the main character, like here's the old character long ago and now they're gay, which is like, again, that's fine. You can do that, but make it good. Velma and Daphne kiss each other in the second episode. They hate each other in the first and most of the second, and out of nowhere, they're like, oh, blushing. Oh, you're so close to me. Mwah, kissing. What? Where was the tension? Where was the buildup? Set the table. What? That came out of nowhere. It was not earned. It was so poorly done. You could have built up to that moment. You could have had them grow closer as friends first, maybe. But no, you went right for the cheap shot. That sucks so hard. Be it hetero or homo or whatever. That wasn't good. That's bad writing. And this series, might I add, just feels hurried, but also relies on telling rather than showing. Exposition, exposition, exposition. Just Velma dumping her story, which is pretty bizarre because the Scooby franchise is based on, what was that again? Oh, mystery. How can you screw that up? Where's your pacing? Rather than, again, setting the table for an emotional journey, they just bum rush Velma's tragic background, convoluted story, and then expect the audience to be invested in a character who has a repulsive personality. Hell, I hope the monsters win, or whatever old guy's wearing a mask. I hope that they win. Overall, this series sucks, just undeniably blows, and I doubt it will improve as the season proceeds on. Now, I saw the headline, about season 2 being announced. But that was already confirmed back in 2022. It's automatic renewal, especially with names as big as Mindy. Now, I know some folks are saying that HBO Max deliberately made a bad thing, being like, oh, it's hot trash in order to get hate clicks and hate watching. Folks, I think you're giving them way too much credit. It is just bad. That's what we have here. It's just bad leadership, a bad director, bad show leaders who are unopposed when it comes to creative feedback. I'm sure that there are folks who are like, this is not good, but we don't want to get fired, so we won't speak up. That's what I suspect. So yeah, if you want to watch something good in this vein, go watch Venture Brothers or Mike Tyson's Mysteries instead. Your brain cells will thank you for it. But hey, if the show actually improves, I will admit I was wrong. But again, I highly doubt that.
You know, Scoob, it just dawned on me. Scooby Dooby.
A new year, a new me. And I'm trying my best to save money, which can be honestly challenging at times. Everything is digital for me. I'm constantly trying to stay on top of monthly expenses and statements, but that's where Rocket Money comes to the rescue. It's an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. The Personal Finance Manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, and build your savings, all in one place. With it, I was able to lower my bills and set monthly budgets that monitor my spending and keeps me on my toes. I even get notifications when I go over, which is very helpful. Sorry, Lego Fund, you've hit your limit. But the feature that I love the most is canceling unwanted subscriptions. I had a subscription that was charging me for 4 months, and I had no idea. But Rocket was able to identify the charge and cancel it with just a tap. It's really nice because I don't have to hunt down the cancel button that these websites hide from clear sight. But Rocket gives you that option right in front of you. Easy as that. So head over to rocketmoney.com/Saberspark or click the link in the description down below. You can also scan the QR code on the screen too. Go check them out today.